Welcome back to the Northern Steel Podcast. This is episode 35, I do believe. 35, coming back. We're heading into week 12 of the NFL season, coming fresh off a loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, unfortunately. Something that we kind of potentially saw coming, but hopefully we could get the win. And if you somehow missed that game because you were too busy eating the all-you-could-eat taco breakfast buffet at Pizza Ranch, we got you covered with highlights here. Now, every week we do highlights. We try to mix it up and try to make it fun and script it out. And this past week on our Instagram, follow us on there, and TikTok, we posted highlights from week 1 from the Steelers beating the Bengals and all the turnovers that Joe Burrow committed. Just something for fun to hype up the Steeler fans. And boy, were Bengal fans pissed after that game. Bengal fans, you already won the game. You don't have to be so mad. I'm just showing something that happened. It was just facts. That's just what happened. So in light of Bengal fans being so mad, I thought this week we'd do the highlights. I'm going to be even meaner. So prepare for that. So jumping into the highlights, skipping the first 2 field goals that the highlights showed, making the score 3-3. The Bengals are in the red zone again, and Joe Burrow throws a short screen to his running back, Samaje Perine. And just like the sexual life of your average Bengals fan, he goes untouched into the end zone, making the score 10-3 Bengals. I see why Bengal fans are so excited for this team, because at least something from Cincinnati can score. On the Steelers' next possession, however, they're in the red zone again, and they hand the ball off to Najee Harris, who, just like the sexual life of an average Bengals fan, goes untouched into the end zone. Now, I don't know about you, but that's one impressive score. I mean, how do you let a 3-7 team score on you that easily, Chris? Embarrassing for the Bengals, really. Najee, with a great run to the outside, sees Jesse Bates and clears him like the little boy he is into the end zone for possibly the Steelers' easiest touchdown of the year. That is one nice jump by Najee and embarrassing play by Jesse.
Over halfway through the second quarter, Bengals find themselves at the Steelers' 11-yard line. Joe Burrow seems to find the one thing in this game that we cannot stop. Backup custodian worker Samaje Perine, as he makes Robert Spillane look like Robert Spillane and takes it in for 6. Yes, NFL, please show a replay that does nothing but remind me of dark times. Steelers then facing 3rd and long at the Steelers' 24-yard line. Kenny Pickett remembers why he was drafted at number 20 as he throws a great pass to the man we refer to as him, as he goes in for a touchdown. Long live Pickett to Pickens connection. Gotta love it.
Skipping past the hilarious interception by Joey B to Levi Wallace is a crime by these NFL highlights, but alas, here we are in the third quarter. Steelers up 20-17, and Joe finds an unknown receiver in the end zone for a touchdown. It's just that kind of night for the Steelers, one I'm sure they would like to forget. But something I didn't forget, however, is the amazing interception TJ Watt had on Burrow in week 1. Well, guess what? He does it again! Really? Again? Joey, you're going to throw to TJ Watt, your father, again? Can't you see the difference between black jerseys and white jerseys? It's clear as day. I mean, I get it. How do you defend against the GOAT? You can't. Thank you for throwing a grand total of 6 interceptions to the Steelers this year. It has been hilarious. And Leal Collins, I see you doing nothing to stop it. Good purchase, Bengals. That really helped you out there, didn't it?
And here's where I get the best kind of highlights. A kickoff, which could only mean one thing. The Bengals getting a great return, which is the only reason they got into field goal range, as Evan McPherson lines up and attempts a 54-yarder as he makes it look easy, extending the lead over the Steelers 27-23. Oh, but what's this? The Bengals in the red zone? The Steelers do absolutely nothing as the Bengals get the ball back. And hold on, what is this? The exact same highlight I covered earlier. Oh, wait a second. No, it's not. But they do the exact same play. And I have no idea what they do. Yay, defensive adjustments.
The Bengals add some more damage, kicking a field goal to make it 37-23 Bengals. Then the Steelers drive down in garbage time easily without the help of Matt Canada. Who would have guessed? And they score another touchdown to make the final score 37-30. Bengals win. bringing the Steelers to 7-2 in their color rush uniforms and losing the third straight game when scoring 30 points, each game coming a year apart. And that's how it ended, the Steelers losing to the Bengals. Well, Chris, what did you think about that game?
Okay, so although, yes, we lost, it's negatives. I have very mixed feelings about the game that we watched, which I know we're going to dive into. So I don't want to say too much, but I felt like it was definitely a tale of two halves. And that's what we'll kind of like skeet in there for the time being.
Skeet in there?
I said skeet.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I was more positive. Well, I wouldn't say positive. It still sucks to lose. But I did have more of a positive outlook on the game after the game had ended, after a couple days. But now it's still not negative, but there's more negative things to talk about, I feel like, after diving into some of the film and hearing what some of the analysts have to talk about online. So starting off, Chris, I mean, the first half, especially for Kenny Pickett, his best half of football. I mean, this dude looked like Kenny Pickett in the preseason playing the Seahawks. He looked great.
Oh, by far. And I was thinking the exact same thing when we were watching it and everything. I go, oh my gosh, like this is the most comfortable I've seen Kenny look all year. He was making actually good reads. He was being able to escape out of the pocket and get out of sacks and things like that. And, it didn't always work out the way we wanted it to. But that first half, I saw a lot of good things and a lot of things to build off of from Kenny Pickett. I think a lot of this year, since he's been starting, it's been negative comment after negative comment on the young quarterback. But I would say the first half was extremely uplifting, and it was good to actually see him help us move down the field. I mean, we scored 23 points in that first half?
We scored 20 points. 20,
which is what, the most we've scored all year?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. No, I completely agree. Like you said, Kenny looked comfortable. He looked calm. I was getting really excited. The way he was playing was really great. Being a rookie, it's tough to maintain that the whole time. And I think the second half, obviously, way different story. With Kenny's play offensively, he looked like a completely different quarterback. I don't know what happened in the locker room. I don't know if Matt Canada was upset because he was actually succeeding, and he's like, I'm trying to get fired. No, don't worry, Matt, you won't get fired till the year ends for some reason with this terrible front office making decisions. But I digress. Kenny, he looked nervous. He looked he didn't have the pocket awareness anymore. He was making one reads the whole time in the second half. Pretty much all the problems that he's been having the past couple of weeks is what he's doing what he was doing in the second half. He didn't look confident and good again until that last 2-minute drive when it really didn't matter anymore. That was the best he looked all half when he led that touchdown drive. He was able to escape the pocket, make some great throws. I mean, he should have had a bomb to Pickens. Unfortunately, Pickens dropped it. And I called that too. We watched it together. I said, hey, we're coming back from this on 2nd and 2. Just throw it deep. Who cares? And he did. He had his guy. Pickens dropped it. And that was a great throw too. But he didn't really look good till then, unfortunately. But again, I'm not trying to give excuses to Kenny. We do this every week. He has his things he's got to learn through and get better and not bad. But I still believe this team is not helping him succeed in those situations. There was 2 separate drives, Chris. One where we were gotten to Bengals territory. One off of a deep pass to George Pickens, where I think the next play was a flea flicker that was not run well, and 2 receivers in the exact same spot. That was a failed flea flicker. Second play was a run up the middle for a yard, and then third play was a sack. Then a second drive, Chris. We're in the Bengals territory later, and we get in Bengals. We're at the 40-yard line or whatnot, and the first play is a hold. Second play is an ineligible man down the field. Third play is a run up the middle. Fourth play is a sack. I mean, shooting ourselves in the foot.
And here we are talking about all the negatives, Dom. Let's talk about a positive here, right? Because we did happen to set an NFL record when we were playing the Bengals. I'm not sure if you knew about it, but we set a record for most times we ran the ball on 2nd and 10. I think it was an NFL record. No, you're right. There is no way. I don't even think that's worth keeping track of that stat. But I don't even have enough hands and feet to count on the amount of times that we decided, oh, this is a good idea. This has worked for us this game. And don't get me wrong. Najee did a great job. Another great game for him. Yeah. So that's a positive. I would say, the last 2 weeks have been by far his most efficient and best runs. He's looked like older Najee, which has been really exciting. And he's starting to build some traction. Maybe we're building an identity in the run game again. Who knows? Yeah. I would love to see that.
It's unfortunate that we lost Jalen Warren to injury because I think keeping those two guys in there helps the run game a lot. Obviously, when Jalen went down, Najee's rushes went down as well, or at least like the success rate of his rushes went down. I do think he still needs the balance in there with Jalen, so hopefully we can get Jalen back. We did get Master Teague back. Welcome back, Master Teague. Excited to watch you play. So yeah, that is definitely a positive, Chris, for sure, with Najee's running game. Pickens also having a great game too. Had 100 something, or maybe not 100 yards, but would have if would have caught that touchdown. But had a lot of yards, had a touchdown. Great body control, great play, like he always does. Got ejected. It is what it is.
Hey, he fights till the end. That's all I got to say about it. He is a dog, and he has a dog in him. We've seen some of those Georgia video clips where he's throwing that dude into the stands. Right. But I think we need that. I think we need people to stand up and be dirty and actually like show that they care and they want to win and be a part of a winning culture.
Right. And also, if there is, and possibly any Bengals fans listening, I see you crying online about George Pickens and the Steelers being dirty players. You have no room to talk. Perfect, Pac-Man Jones, that entire team that at one point, I mean, your fans throw beer bottles at players. You got no room to talk about dirty. Just because a dude pushed him aggressively on the ground on an onside kick, relax. Absolutely relax. Defensively, I guess the only positives would be a couple more sacks, again, by Alex Highsmith and company. I think TJ getting half a sack. TJ's pick, phenomenal. It was so hilarious that's happened twice. Levi Wallace had a great pick as well.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, yes, the defensive performance was not great by any means. We had some star plays going on, and TJ continues to do TJ-like things, which aren't human. Highsmith continues to tally up sacks in the sack total, which is awesome. I'm great to see the year that he's having. I feel like as a whole, from our front seven, they're doing a pretty good job defensively when it comes to the rush or the run. But I think this game, which we've talked about since the very beginning, was the definite clear sign of what we always knew what the problem was with this defense. And there's so many people being like, but we thought Witherspoon was the answer. We thought, and they're not the answer. Those are definitely backup dudes on some other teams that we just happen to have. And I'm not trying to throw shade. Levi Wallace has actually been doing really well. I do want to give props to Levi Wallace. Yeah. He's stepped up and has been playing cornerback, probably the best on our team. But to say they are the answers from the beginning of the season, they're the answers as to why we are letting up 500 yards a game. If this was a multiple choice test, and they said, what's the problem with the Pittsburgh Steelers defense? And it was A, our cornerbacks, B, all of the above. I'd say B. So
I still think it's a scheme thing and a coaching thing because, and I know we've heard before Tomlin in the past has called defensive plays. So it's I don't even know why we have a defensive coordinator. I'm not sure if Tomlin's calling the plays or if it's Terrell Austin, but we have the highest paid defense in the league. Granted, a lot of that money is going to TJ and Minka, but we still have stars at least really good players. I mean, Cam's old, but he's a good player. Highsmith's having a breakout year. Ogunjobi's playing really well. DeMarvin Leal's a rookie who does pretty well. Miles Jack and Devin Bush is playing a way better year. Miles Jack does good. Terrell Edmonds is a really solid safety with Minka. Cornerbacks aren't really that great. I don't mind Levi Wallace. I don't mind Cam Sutton, but they're not true number ones at all. We don't have a true number one cornerback. But regardless, we're letting up. We've let up a 100-yard receiver in 7 games we've played this year. Out of the 10 games we've played.
It's horrible.
So, yeah, T. Higgins went off. No, we didn't adjust any game plan to cover him, to double cover him at all. We just let him kept catching balls. And when you're letting up 30-plus points in multiple games this year, I know it's the Bills. I know it's the Eagles. I know it's these like high-scoring teams, but you're supposed to be having a really good defense. I mean, the Bills just barely beat the Lions yesterday on Thanksgiving. By the way, happy Thanksgiving. So it's got to be a scheme. And then what's frustrating, to kind of move past this offensive defense talk, Chris, is in interviews this week, they talked to Tomlin about, some Bengals players said, offensively, from an offensive standpoint, the Steelers were really easy to adjust for in the second half because they just keep running the same plays. Tomlin says, oh, well, that's just normal for the NFL. They're running the same plays too. That's just how the NFL goes. Don't believe it. Matt Canada says he just laughs it off with his arrogant chuckle that he always has and goes, I'll just let you guys worry about that, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is the problem. And it's been the problem for years, is they don't adjust the game plan. I was so surprised in Miami when they adjusted the game plan. When Tua and the Dolphins were scoring on us like super early and quickly, and then they adjusted whatever they had to do, and then they slowed the Dolphins down big time. But this is like just a stubbornness to not change, and you just think it's going to work, and it's not going to work. The Bengals adjusted, and they kept scoring. We didn't adjust.
It's a classic saying of like, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Like the fact that Tomlin went out of his way and said, it's not about making the adjustments. We just have to learn to execute better and play better. And it's like, no, that's not the case, because our plays suck. The people are starting to go, yeah, if everyone could play at 100% all the time, that'd be awesome. If we had 11 TJ Watts out on the field, that'd be awesome, but we don't. We have to play to the strengths of our players, and we have to play to the schemes that are going to shut down certain targets, that are going to stop certain aspects of their play. I mean, look how the Bengals adjusted to us when we were on offense, right? Kenny was lighting them up. He had the best passer rating from the blitz last week, and he was super good. Like, wow. And what they do, they drop back. They played way more conservative. They focus on covering the receivers. And what was it forced Kenny to stay in the pocket longer. They still got some sacks on there, so it's not like the blitzing really mattered. And we didn't score other than those 3 points, really, or the garbage time points at all in the second half. And that's because they made the adjustment. You can make adjustments. It's not about your players, because they're good. They're fine. Just it's a coaching thing at that point.
And they don't. And I guess that's what leads us to, before we talk about the preview, I guess that leads us to this little sneak peek, or a little hot take, I should say, as we prepare for playing the Indianapolis Colts on Monday Night Football. The Colts, if you didn't know, I don't know how you wouldn't know, it's pretty big news, hired Jeff Saturday to be their interim head coach when they fired Frank Reich. Jeff Saturday, that was a laughing stock joke across the league that they hired Jeff Saturday. I personally thought there's no way they could do well after that. And since hiring Jeff Saturday, they won their next game, which I picked them to lose, and they almost beat the Eagles. Matter of fact, they should have beat the Eagles. They lost them by 1. So he is coaching well. So in a game where I think the Steelers should win and need to beat the Colts, here's my hot take for you, Chris. If the Steelers lose to the Colts this upcoming week, and they're out-coached by Jeff Saturday, if Mike Tomlin is, you got to start thinking about Mike Tomlin's future with this team. I know he's done a lot. I know he's been around, but maybe you need to strip it all down and start over.
I know his reputation and I know the things that he's done for this team. Mike Tomlin is arguably going to go down as one of the greats as far as a coach goes, just looking at his resume. And I'm not doubting that. You know, Tomlin was great for us. Obviously, won us a Super Bowl and got us to another Super Bowl and a number of AFC championships. That's great. But if we look at the last 5 years, if we look at the last 10 years, you know, like our playoff record is horrible. You know, we are not a dominant team by any means. We aren't a team that's necessarily feared because we're predictable. And it's just like how I get the whole idea of like, oh, he's never had a losing season. That's really awesome. Like only greats can say that. I think only greats can say, oh, they haven't been to the Super Bowl in 3 years. But that's 3 years, you know, like we haven't been to the Super Bowl since 2010. All right. I don't think there's anything impressive in the last 12 years for us to be like, okay, maybe we should not keep Tomlin around, you know, because it's always ended with first round losses or not even getting into the playoffs. So I don't know, something needs to change or else we're just going to be teeter-tottering around that 500 or above record or first win playoff loss.
And you and I both love Tomlin, and so don't get it wrong. This isn't your classic weird Tomlin hate that he gets. We love Tomlin, but I think it's getting tiring. I think it's getting old. The past 3 years, I've noticed that we don't adjust game plans. We don't change things. He's stubborn to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. I think Big Ben and TJ Watt have bailed him out of the dumb coaching decisions he's done in the past. And if we lose to Jeff Saturday, if we're out-coached by the Colts, it really might be time to start thinking about a change. And I know that sounds weird to be like, after Tomlin's first losing season, you're going to fire him. It's more than that, though. Just like Chris just laid out, it's been years of years of mediocrity, and maybe you just need a change. I mean, look at the Dolphins and the Vikings this year with two coaching positions that they got that looked promising on paper, and how those are paying out for those teams. And those teams haven't got drastically different this year. It's not like they added a bunch of talent and a bunch of roster. Those were good rosters last year, but coaching makes a big difference. And I just don't. This team's just not being coached on all levels, head coach and assistants. But with that negative thought in mind, let's jump into our preview for this game, Chris. Playing against the Colts, Jeff Saturday, Monday Night Football. Why don't you hit him with the intro?
Keys to the game.
Nice.
I'm about to trademark that or something. I feel like, you know, it's starting to catch. I'm seeing it on social media everywhere. You know, people are imitating me on TikTok.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere. We're so viral. It really is. It's crazy. We're start selling some merch soon, probably.
Like, come on, I'm just trying to eat over here, you know? Like, we're at Potbelly. Like, I'm just trying to enjoy my sub.
That's what I'm saying.
No, so keys to the game moving forward. I think, gosh, this is fun, isn't it? I think a good key to the game, we got to keep up our efficient running attack. I think that's been really helpful for us in being able to switch up, you know, our play calling and being able to give Pickett some relief, as well as, you know, as long as Najee can keep efficiently running, you might as well just keep working them, because why put something to rest when it's so hot, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a definite key to the game. We have to outcoach, which is kind of funny, especially after talking about what we just did with Tomlin and everything. But we have to be creative. We have to adjust. You know, yes, the Colts have been looking really, really good, and they have been outcoaching these other good teams the last 2 weeks. like you said, but we just have to do a better job of disguising some coverages, at bringing in some new play calling, not running on 2nd and 10, no more jet sweeps, things like that. I think that would be really good. And then ultimately, shutting down the receivers, I think would be the last big one. Mostly, yes, on the outside, but I think our linebacker coverage needs to step it up for this next week. That's a big weakness in our department. Spillane got targeted so many times last week.
Same with Millette.
Yeah, and Millette.
I think they need to not play him on passing downs. They need to play James Pierre instead on passing downs.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with
that guy.
Well, I think Millette's more of like a gritty, kind of like he's more wanting to get in there and like hit people and like do stuff like that. So if you want to put him on like designed run plays, I mean, obviously you can't do that every time, or else people will be like, oh, so they must be going into coverage. Oh, let's audible, do whatever. That's why you got to disguise it, and I get that, and it's not always going to work out. But at the same time, I think Pierre is way better of a coverage guy, and Millette is more of like let's do like a blitz with a corner or something along those lines. So that's what I'm going to stick to for the time being for keys of the game. Not a whole lot. I want Kenny to do well and be efficient like he was in the first half of last week. And honestly, my bold prediction is he will. I think Kenny's going to have continue to improve. I have just this feeling he's going to have his best game yet. I'm not going to put numbers behind it because at this point, who really cares about the numbers? Right. Good to me. He could still have under 250 yards, but maybe like 2 touchdowns or something like that, right? Like just something efficient to keep the ball moving and keep us having the ball for longer. But I don't know. I just gotta have this gut feeling that Kenny's going to play his best game. So we'll see what happens.
Yep, I and looking towards this game and the future too. Obviously, we've said this for weeks. The season's done. Don't worry about playoffs. Don't worry about anything else. And in spite of coaches, I am still hoping to see some progressions from players, from individuals, something to build on for next year. Which is weird because it's like I want them to get better and score. Like I want the Steelers to score like 30 points. And put up a lot of points, but I don't want people. I don't want the Steelers front office to think Matt Canada is good now for doing that. I just want to. So we are looking at this like from a player perspective. Like Chris said, to be honest, this may sound bad coming from a podcast where we should be doing more research, but hey, cut some slack. It's Thanksgiving week, But I haven't done a lot of research on the Colts. I really haven't. I know they're not the greatest team, but they have been playing better the past 2 weeks. So let's just look at the facts that I do know. Offense for the Colts. Something that I guess this may be bad to say. I'm not really afraid of them. Now, don't get me wrong. They could still put up a lot of points. But Matt Ryan hasn't been doing the best this year. It's still Matt Ryan, so you can't take him easy. But Matt Ryan has been doing the best. I'm not really afraid of any of the receivers. The best receiver is Michael Pittman. So unlike last week, find a way to cover him and worry about the rest later. And obviously they got Jonathan Taylor, and Jonathan Taylor's been having a down year with injuries, but the past 2 weeks he's been really turning it on again. So finding a way to stop the run and holding that down is going to be really helpful, really huge from a defensive standpoint. This defense is supposed to be good. With TJ Watt playing and he's back, I don't want to say expect, but I would hope that we can kind of shut them down. I think it'd be really depressing and disappointing if we give up 20 plus points to this team. 23 plus points. I think it'd be really kind of depressing if we did that. Mm-hmm. You got to shut them down. From an offensive standpoint, their defense kind of run, the Colts defense, in my opinion, I don't know a lot about them, kind of run the same way we do. Their front seven's pretty good. Their secondary, not the best. It does help that they lost Shaquille Leonard, to be honest. It does help that they lost that. So like you said, getting through that initial line from a running game standpoint, especially if Jalen Warren can come back, or even Master Teague, man, that dude runs hard too. Establishing a run game would be nice. Big Ben on his podcast said that he always played well against the Colts, so maybe that will rub off on Kenny and see what happens. I don't know if their secondary is that great, but Yeah, I know. I always say that, and then it's bad. But I guess they do Stephon Gilmore. He's really good.
No, I was going to say the Ben playing well. I'd say after the Manning era, I'd say Ben played well against the Colts.
Yeah, but they still had Andrew Luck. Not like they were bad.
No, but I think back to early Ben career.
Yeah. I suppose, but he still did well.
Yeah.
The Colts do have Stephon Gilmore. He's still playing at a high level. It still bothers me that we never made a push to sign him. So I guess that is the one quarterback to look out for. He would be covering DJ, but we don't throw it to DJ anyways because Matt Canada doesn't know that DJ can get open. So who cares?
He doesn't get separation. So
yeah. Supposedly he has no idea that Deontay Johnson gets separation on his routes. So whatever, I guess. But I am looking just for, like you said, some more of what we saw the first half against the Bengals, progressing, getting third downs, getting good chunk plays on first and second down. Kenny getting better at making his reads and not locking onto one guy, throwing him. I'm just looking for some progression. I'm not looking for them to score 30 points. I'm looking for some progression, hopefully getting a win. Doesn't really matter in the long run, but more for confidence, more for something to build on. So yeah, completely agree, Chris. And we'll check back next week and either be happy about it, but most likely be pissed. Let's move on to the last part of our segment we've done the past 2 weeks. We've done a redraft of hindsight redrafting. We did 2017 through today's redraft. I'm trying to pull up my page right now, wherever it is. Oh, it's actually on my thing right now. 2017 through 2022. We have,
yes, sir.
We've done the redraft, how it looks for us. Again, just to give you a quick recap of how that's supposed to look, is we're drafting where our rounds were. However, we're not doing any trades post the draft, so we're actually able to get some different draft picks here and there. Like, for example, since we're not doing any trades past the draft, we never trade for Vance McDonald. So in 2018, we actually have our 4th round back where San Francisco picked, and that plays account to that. The only post-draft I did do was Minka because I say that Big Ben still gets hurt. So within the redraft, we have TJ Watt, Juju, Cam, Eddie Jackson, George Kittle, Aaron Jones, and then a bunch of nobodies. Who cares? And then in 2018, we got Shaquille Leonard, Carlton Davis, Orlando Brown, Jordan Whitehead, Josh Sweat, Scott Quessenberry, MVS, Trayvon Young, and Justin Jackson. In 2019, we go Debo, Lonnie Johnson, Terry McLaurin, Trey Pipkins, Tony Pollard, Isaiah Buggs again, DeMarcus Christmas, Derwin Gray. In 2020, we go Jalen Hurts, Alex Highsmith, Licky Futu, Gabe Davis, Bryce Hall, Curtis Weaver, Carlos Davis, Derek Tuska. 2021, Asante Samuel, Creed Humphrey, Quinn Miners, Dan Moore, Rashad Weaver, Talanoa Hufunga, Trey Smith, Trey Norwood, and Presley Harvin, which leads us to 2022. And it's kind of weird to do a redraft of a year we just did, but that's just the way it goes. That's so we're gonna jump into that, and I know it's hard to. We'll try to do a redraft the best we can, even though these players aren't even really panned out yet. But there are some things we can move around because, like in our redraft, we had drafted Jalen Hurts. So obviously not going to be drafting Kenny Pickett in the first round with this redraft. So let's jump down to 20, Chris, and see who else we could pick up instead.
I'm working to get the list on here, but
I can tell
is it safe to say that, obviously we're drafting where our normal thing would be, but if we actually got all of these players from years past, would it be safe to draft at number 32, most likely?
Right, exactly. There's that. Thank you for bringing that up, Chris. There's points that, there's things I can't account for. When you draft these players, I can't account for what the record will be the next year. I can't account for who we'd sign and keep in free agency, or let alone the cap. We'd have to pay for all these players. Mm-hmm. So we're just picking from the same spot we'd be picking from. It's not a perfect redraft. It's just something fun to do. And this is our last round of doing it. So we have a lot of options, Chris, especially some people that I had made fun of during the draft, like Tyler Smith, the Cowboys drafted. He actually has played really well at tackle. And funny enough, Cole Strange at guard has played extremely well as a guard. But you also have, I know I think we're covered on safeties actually from our previous drafts. Devin Lloyd might be a really good option here, or Jermaine Johnson the third, since we'd be losing to it. So getting another defensive end. I don't know how well he's done this year, but I know he was a big name to potentially get to shore up the defensive line some more.
I want to say he's been hurt, to be honest.
Yeah, that very well could be. I could jump into the second round and I could look at that quickly. We have a lot of running backs too. That's another.
I guess not. I mean, let's see here.
And I love Jaquan Brisker. He's doing great, but like I said, we have a ton of safeties.
Well, I guess he's played in 6 games, so he's probably there for a little bit, mostly in October. Sure. But he has 15 tackles and 2.5 sacks in 6 games.
That's not bad.
It isn't.
So what do you want to do? I'm kind of leaning more towards some line play, I guess. I mean, we could go Devin Lloyd because I don't think we have another inside linebacker right now, which would be nice because we have Shaquille Leonard from 4 years ago, and nobody else because we never got Devin Bush. We would have Vince Williams for a while, but we would have lost him last year. So maybe that's a decent play.
I'm fine with that one. I feel like it's getting kind of tough.
Right, because when you do 5 years, you have no idea how players are going to play. You have no idea. You kind of lose track of who you've lost. But I think that might be a good choice. We've also done a really good job of establishing the line play on both sides.
Yeah, so I'd say line is out of the question for sure.
Yeah, so we go Devin Lloyd there. Let's go second round. Honestly, Chris, I know we've gotten a lot of receivers in the past, but I think I'm leaning towards drafting Pickens again.
Yeah, let's just get Pickens because he's my boy.
Because I don't really know who else I would get past him in the second round. Not really anybody I'm loving on the list. So let's do that. Make it easy.
Sure.
Pickens. Let's go third round. Third round, we got
DeMarvin Leal, which I like Leal.
I do. I like the pick too.
I feel like obviously, yeah, he's been hurt lately, which stinks. But I felt like the time he was in there, he did pretty well. He applied some pressure. I'm kind of excited to see him get back in there.
Yep.
Marcus Jones is someone I always wanted, but we also have cornerbacks kind of taken care of.
Well, kind of and kind of not. If you go back, it's. I
mean, the last year we got Asante Samuel.
I suppose. I mean, if you're counting it from that you're keeping everybody, I guess you have Carlton Davis, Lonnie Johnson, who I don't think is that good, but he was the best option at the time as cornerbacks there.
Sure.
And Asante Samuel and Cam Sutton. So there's your 4 right there.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus Jones, I guess, would be more. I mean, the Patriots don't even play Marcus Jones, but he is the return guy. He's pretty decent at returning.
Sure.
So there's an option there for him, or I guess you could go. People really like the Leo Chanel going out of there.
Nah, I'm looking.
I mean, we could change our pick, the first one, from Devin Lloyd to a different linebacker because there's still like Leo Chanel, Darian Beavers. Who's that LSU guy who's out for the year that wasn't able to play?
But I feel like they're not even doing anything right now.
Well, they're all injured, I think. Darian Beavers is injured, and there's that other LSU guy that we liked. Oh, Damone Clark. Who wasn't even going to play this year.
Who's out this whole year?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we could get him in the 4th round, can't we?
That's what I'm saying. So, like, you could switch the first round pick to maybe something else, so that you could keep, in a sense, DeMarvin Leal. I guess is what I'm pitching.
I don't know because there's no other good.
Yeah, I don't know if I like.
There's like no other name that really steps out to me.
Besides Nakobe Dean, I guess, too, because he's in the 4th, isn't he?
Yeah. But has he really done anything?
Well, he hasn't started, but in ours, he would.
That's fair.
In this make-believe thing we've kind of set up, he would start in ours.
That
Where
is
was
fair.
Dean drafted? I thought he was 3rd. Was he 3rd round? Where is he?
Oh,
Nakobe Dean.
I thought he was 3rd.
Maybe I'm just scrolling too fast. Yeah, there he is.
Wrong.
Oh,
Maybe
he's a pick before us.
Oh.
That's why he's out of the question. So maybe you stay DeMarvin then.
Just go to Marvin.
And then, but maybe you change the first. Nah, we can keep the first one.
Nah, I'd keep the first.
Okay, we'll keep DeMarvin because again, hard to pick. It's like it's half a season of playing right now.
Yeah,
but I do like the pick. We go to the 4th. We go Calvin Austin, who I do like.
I wish you'd play, but whatever.
So maybe instead, just looking. I'm trying to look quickly. I mean, we don't need with the draft we've done. Oh yeah,
Tariq Woolen.
Yeah, I think you got to. I know we've got cornerbacks in the past, but I think you got to, don't you?
Yeah, the way how he's playing.
Yeah, you got to. Okay, and this next one, Chris, is we picked up from other drafts. This one is from the Schobert trade that we wouldn't do because it's post draft.
Yep.
So this next one is pick 163. Tennessee's pick, it looks like. Kyle Phillips. From Pittsburgh.
Sure.
Which is still in the same round, so we're not picking him, I don't think. 163. What is he? Wide receiver? Yeah, not picking him. But maybe someone else instead around that. I mean, there's Damone Clark. We'll get him as well, just to keep for a year.
Just because I like him. He wouldn't play anyway, so why not?
Right, and we drafted inside linebacker, so it's like now we're gonna get like 3 good studs potentially.
Yeah, let's do it.
I say why not? We have an extra pick. Next is 198.
198.
We get that one from an Avery Williamson, I think, pick. It's the Eagles pick in the 6th round. I don't think we have a pick before them. No, we don't. Ours is later.
Because our next pick is 206. Or sorry, 208. Right. What is this one? 190 something?
198.
That doesn't give us a lot of room.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody great. I say we get some guard depth. Let's get Letitia Smith.
Okay.
And then maybe still draft Connor Hayward. I liked Connor Hayward, to be honest.
Yeah, I do too.
I didn't at the time, but I think he's proved that he is a beast, can play.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be tough to pick these next ones, Chris. I think I said we might just have to go because it's so hard to tell. We might just have to go as is for the Steelers' next picks.
No. I know the last one.
But yeah, the last one could be different for sure. So are you fine with me on this list doing Letitia Smith and Connor Hayward and Mark Robinson? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. But yeah, the last pick should be definitely be different. What do you got for me?
I wasn't going to do someone different. I was going to do the same.
Oh, what? Okay, go ahead.
Chris Oladokin, of course.
No, boo.
Come on, dude. What? The 7th pick means absolutely nothing. Find me a good 7th rounder.
Rasheed Walker for Packers tackle. Isaiah Pacheco.
No.
Honestly, like Smoke Monday, even though I got hurt. We have a lot of safeties. I liked him more.
Yeah, but he didn't get drafted, so we could just pick him up.
Yeah, I suppose, but we didn't. I'd rather do smoke.
Sure. Just because it's your boy.
Yeah. Okay. And there we go. 2022 redraft from players that have barely played. So it doesn't really matter that much. Devin Lloyd, George Pickens, Marvin Leal, Tariq Woolen, Damone Clark, Letitia Smith, if that's how you pronounce it, Connor Hayward, Mark Robinson, and Smoke Monday.
I like it.
There we go. Chris, did you happen to do the... No? Okay, you didn't do the picks?
When we were talking and we're like, yeah, no, one should work. I was like, oh, cool, I'll work on that right now. And then you're like, hey, guess what? I can do 2. I was like, well, another week, another disappointment.
Great. Well, let's just do the game picks real quick. We're doing this past Thursday, but I believe our game picks were the same, weren't they? For these Thursday games? I know I picked the Bills, I picked the Cowboys, and I picked Minnesota.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Then we'll move on to the other games. There's some really icky ones in here. I'll probably change my mind for one of them, but anyways, Bears against Jets.
Gosh, easy.
Yeah.
We'll go with the Jets. I don't know. Is Justin Fields playing? Does that confirm?
I don't know. But his dislocated shoulder is confirmed, so I think I'm going to do Jets.
Yeah, I'm going to say Jets.
Texans at Dolphins.
Do you say Texans at Dolphins?
Yeah.
Let's go with Dolphins.
Bengals at Titans.
Did you say Bengals at Titans?
Yeah.
Let's go Bengals. Unfortunately, I hope Titans win, but I'm not a big believer of the Titans.
I'm going to go Bengals too. Going to have to talk a little bit more so Chris can hear the picks through my AirPods that went through the washer. We're going to go Broncos at Panthers. Probably the toughest game to pick this week.
It is, but it's also not because Sam Darnold is playing for the Panthers, and Sam Darnold is really bad. Also, Denver has like the best or one of the best defenses. Also saw a funny stat that Russell Wilson is projected to throw less touchdowns than he has bathrooms in his house, which is 12 bathrooms, if anyone's curious on that number. But I'm going to go with Denver.
Another funny Broncos stat is if the Broncos have scored 18 points at the end of regulation in every game, they would be 9-1 right now. But their offense stinks, surprisingly, with Russell Wilson. But I actually am going with Broncos too because their defense is so good. You got Falcons and Commanders.
Let's go Commanders.
I'm going to go Commanders as well. Buccaneers and Browns.
I think I'm going to say Buccaneers.
I'm going to say Browns, but I think both teams are not really good. But I'll say Browns.
No.
Ravens at Jags.
Let's go with the Ravens.
I'm going to go with the Ravens as well. Raiders at Seahawks.
Seahawks, of course.
Yep. Chargers at Cardinals. This is my son, Sam. Sam, would you like to say hi? Look, it's Geet, is what Sam calls my brother, his Uncle Chris. He's talking to it. Talk. No, don't pull. Talk. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Hi. Okay, here, help me choose the next game, Sam, okay? Chargers at Cardinals.
Chargers.
Don't touch. Don't touch, Sam. Who do you pick? Chargers or Cardinals? Who? Which one? Cardinals?
Yeah.
Okay. Saints at 49ers?
Let's go 49ers.
49ers?
Yeah.
Rams at Chiefs?
Chiefs.
Chiefs. Mommy.
Yeah, Chiefs, I agree. Packers at Eagles?
Eagles?
No.
You Eagles?
No.
Do you want to pick Packers?
Yeah.
Okay. Sam picking Packers. Steelers at Colts.
No.
Let's go Steelers.
Yeah, I'm picking the Steelers. Are you picking the Steelers?
No.
You better. Pick the Steelers.
No.
Okay, then I'll do it for this week. Thank you guys for listening. Sam is going to tear my microphone apart. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Grubhub. Chris, do you have any last words?
Not much. Just hi, Sam, and go Steelers.
Sam, do you have any last words?
No.
Yep, that's what I like to hear. See you guys next week. Deuces.
Peace.
Bye.